Hey, welcome to Lookup Flight Academy. This is our newly renovated space, and today, this is not gonna be a tour, but I wanna show you guys just what it's like to run a flight school, because I've gotten so many people ask me, hey, I wanna do this, or I wanna do what you're doing. And I'm like, no, wait a minute, you do not wanna do this, right? If you really wanna get into this industry or this business, there's a lot more that goes into it than the content and some of the things that you see online. You come into our space right here. This is like our opening area, sitting area as well. Like folks can come in and sit down, and we've got a little, this is where you actually sit down with the receptionist and somewhere to go through your program for you. Over here, we're trying our best to connect this room and make it more like a casual lounge area where you can just chill, have lunch, study, whatever it is you need to do. You can see it's still going through its own renovations right now. And guys, today is day 21. Day 21 of opening these doors. Technically, we're supposed to be closed until the end of the month, but I just couldn't wait. But anyway, I want to talk to you about how this thing runs, because it's one thing to invite you like, hey, come fly with us, but how does it actually run? So come with me. So right here, you've got our receptionist area. This is usually when a student comes in, you sit down. We've got a little coffee area. This is a man's best friend right here, because I have coffee every single morning. And then you come here, this is where all the magic happens. We've got an office here. Nobody really uses it. It's dirty as hell. And then this is where, boom, the magic happens. The first magic, right? So this is our classroom. Guys, one thing that we're trying to do, matter of fact, you know what? I'll sit down a little bit and actually talk to you about what our real mission is. Again, if you're looking to start this type of business, I got some secret sauce for you, and maybe some things that will scare you away. So right here, what we're looking to do is make sure that we are also recording our classes, so that way when students are enrolled and they're not able to make class, because sometimes we clock in very early and class is every day very early, and you might have folks, you know, with a job, a different schedule. So there's usually a camera here and a camera right there, and if you're not able to make it in person, guess what? You can just tune in and stream the class online live, or it's also recorded for you, so you get a chance to watch whenever you want. Now, let me show you where magic number 2 happens. Come with me. So here are the things you're gonna need to have a flight school. Equipment, right? So this is our Virtual Fly Dual Pro Flight Simulator. I love this thing. And speaking of, guys, this is the true mission statement for what Lookup Flight Academy wants to accomplish. We want to provide end-to-end flight training remotely. Sounds crazy, right? Remotely. So imagine a day where, as beautiful as this airplane is, imagine a day where you don't have to fly this 50 hours, 100 hours, or 250 hours to get your ratings. Imagine there comes a time where you can do most of your training on the ground, or say in a flight simulator, which we're already starting to structure into our program. Because guys, flying this, it's exciting, it's beautiful, but it also comes with a lot of costs. And not just cost of the monetary cost, right? There's safety attached to it, there are rules, there's insurance, there's just cost all over the place. And guess what? As a flight training facility, usually it's you, the student, the customer, who takes on most of that cost. So right now, to rent this airplane, you're looking at $185 an hour wet, right? Which is extremely affordable compared to, say, other schools where you're paying over $200 an hour to rent an airplane. But that's the cost, right? That's the rental cost. Now imagine, instead of paying $185 or $220 an hour for an airplane, imagine that same training costs you $20, $25 an hour. But I'll talk to you more about that. right now I just want to show you what you need to start a flight school. So you would need airplanes. So we've got some here. We actually have more airplanes coming in. We've got the flight simulator. Matter of fact, that flight simulator is just standing by over there. It's gonna get its own housing very soon. See that back there? That is our that's gonna be our simulator room. So we're looking to expand this right now, and we're gonna stock it up with some AC because a sim is a huge computer and it needs proper cooling so we don't overheat it. And of course, you need either a hangar space, or let me show you, you could also have tie downs, right? If you're starting on a budget, you don't always need to have a big hangar like this. You can have one of these. And again, don't mind the space, still renovating here. So right here, these are tie downs. All of this right here, these are tie downs, and you can start your own flight school or flight operations by parking your airplane outside. You don't have to have it inside. We're just bougie. That's why, no, I'm kidding. We actually have good use of the space. Anyway, let's go inside and I'll talk to you more about some of the things to look forward to. So what do you need to start a flight school? Let's give you a tour of our small facility here. Generally speaking, you start with your mission statement. Like, why are you actually doing this? Our mission statement is we want to make flight training so much affordable that you don't necessarily have to spend $200, $300 an hour. And by the time you get to your commercial, right now, to get a commercial pilot rating, you're looking at $80,000 to $100,000. Simple and clear, right? Now imagine that cost, same rating costs you $20,000. That is what we want to get to, but it will take time, right? So for you, start with your mission statement. Why are you actually doing this? It could be a passion. It could be, something that you're doing just because you want to add to the community, all that good stuff. But understand that this is a very capital intensive environment. You can't bypass that. It's going to cost you quite a bit. Now, the other thing you need, obviously, you can register a business. You should register a business if you're going to start a flight school. You're going to need space. Right, so I'll give you our story. In order for us to get this space, we had to submit a proposal to the county and work with the county and actually win the bid to be able to lease this place. And maybe in another video, I'm gonna talk to you about what that process looks like. So you need a space. And guys, honestly, if you're starting from scratch, you may not necessarily need office or hangar space. You can just get a T hangar and start your flight operation with one airplane. If you're the one CFI, then boom, that's all you need, right? So you definitely need space, and then you need the equipment. And in this case, you need an airplane. Now, our goal is, I want you to imagine again a future where you don't have to fly a real airplane to begin with, right? I imagine a future where 90% of your training is done on the ground, and then the last 10% is done in the actual airplane. So imagine a future where you have an eyewear, something you wear on your hands and something you wear on your feet, and you could do your flight training with that. I know it sounds crazy, right? But it's very, very possible. And so you go from that to then maybe a flight simulator. We have a full motion flight simulator from Virtual Pro, and it is as real as it gets when it comes to like flying an actual airplane. And then once you go through all of that and you're able to pass the knowledge and all of the safety aspects of flying, the last portion of your training then goes in the real airplane. That's the world that we imagine, and we hope to add or make that happen. But for you, like I said, your mission could be different. So to get into that world, obviously we're gonna need a lot more resources, software, hardware, a lot of stuff. But basic flight training today, you need either a hangar or a T hangar or a tie down, an airplane, obviously a CFI, and you're good to go. But to have a small operation like ours, you need the office space, you need to have a curriculum. So in the flight training world, you have two sections, right? You can be a Part 61 or Part 141. We are a Part 61 on paper, but we have our curriculum run very much like a 141, which is an accelerated program. So as a student, any student that comes through our doors, we basically give them a whole curriculum like they're going to school. So they come in, they take ground every day, they take flying lessons every day, and we get them to each rating, hopefully in time for them to then move on to the professional world. So we run very much like a 141. When you're getting started, you're more than likely you're gonna start with the 61, because getting a 141 certificate is tough and it takes time. I know this firsthand, trust me. And then once you have your curriculum, you definitely want to have some help, at least an admin. I will highly recommend having an admin. They will take care of the front end of your operations. Also help when people come in, inquiries, things like that. And guys, you know, I come from the digital world, so tech is a big deal, especially in this industry. Aviation feels very much like a dinosaur, honestly. So we try to infuse as much technology to make our lives easier. So for example, we use applications for CRM that helps us manage our customer base. We use applications for our scheduling, which you probably need. We use Flight Schedule Pro. You could use there's options out there. We use application even for our maintenance. We use applications for communication, things like that. It's to help with any automatic or automated operations, anything we can automate. We use a software for it, and it makes life a lot easier. That way we can just focus on teaching ground and teaching flight lessons. But here's what that looks like on paper, right? To register a company, maybe a few $100. But now when you're talking about leasing a space like this, talking about a couple of $1,000s per month, you need equipment. So on average, you can find your standard training aircraft anywhere from $75,000 all the way up to $1 million, right? Our planes are light sports, brand new. Those planes cost over $300,000. Used, you can find them anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000. And you can find a lot of Cessnas and Pipers around that price range. If you want a commercial grade flight simulator like the one I just showed you, that will cost you about the same. If it's full motion, you're looking at about $100,000 plus for that. But here's the kicker, right? With a Virtual Flight Pro like we have, guys, imagine being able to train students in an equipment that doesn't necessarily require you to have heavy insurance, heavy storage costs, maintenance. So for example, our simulator comes with 3 years of free maintenance, so we never have to worry about it. But that machine can do so much. We can log hours for instrument, for commercial, and for multi-engine rating. Matter of fact, with that equipment alone, we're able to train 70 to 75% of multi-engine in that thin, right? So those are the things that you have to think about as an operator is, okay, do I make this investment or do I make this investment? Now, let's assume that you don't have any money, you don't have a dime to your name, you can always lease, right? If you know a buddy or a friend who is willing to lease you their aircraft as a lease back, that is one way to start. As a matter of fact, that is exactly how we started, right? We started by leasing airplanes, and that helped us until we built our revenue, and then we were able to bring on our own equipment. So those are things you have to think about wanting to start a flight operation. Now, will I advise anyone to go down this path? No, probably not, because honestly, it's a lot of work. It gets heavy often. And in the flight training world, you're not just thinking about making sure you run your operations, but safety is a big part of everything we do. So you have to make sure that safety habits are being built internally, and obviously hope that every time your student or your CFI goes up that they're being safe, and they are safe, right? Just like driving in traffic. There are things that can happen on the road that's not in the control of the person driving the car. So I want you to keep that in mind, that if you go down this path, make sure that your mission and your why is big enough, because if it's not, it gets heavy and it gets tiring, and it needs a lot of capital. But anyway, I just want to give you a brief breakdown or intro to what it is like to run a flight school. In the coming videos, I'll show you day to day. I actually picked today right now where everyone is going home, but perhaps in the next video, I'll give you like our day-to-day operations, when class is running, when staff is here, when things are happening, so you get a feel into what it's actually like to be at Lookup Flight Academy, both as an operator if you're looking to start your flight school, also as a student who chooses to fly with us. And speaking of, if you do want to get your pilot's license, definitely check out lookupflightacademy.com. Guys, hit me with the questions, because I wanted to do this series because one, you've watched me do several things over the years. I was able to build an airplane from scrap metal and turn it into this wonderful 4-seater airplane. I want to take you behind the scenes for this. We're literally rebuilding right now in Atlanta, Georgia. So I want to take you behind the scenes on how we're actually building this flight school. So you can take notes, you can come fly with us, or you can go open and build your own flight school. Anyway, until next time, I'm gonna catch you on the next video. Make sure you subscribe if this is your first time. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Again, my name is Mike, and I will catch you on the next video. Peace.